Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Vasil from Built for Speed, and I wanted to make this video because I think it's probably going to be an important one on the Titan XD Cummins, the diesel that I have. It's a 2019 diesel, and recently I had quite a scare with it. So I had a crank no start condition. Pretty much what happened was, I'll just give you a quick story, how it started, and then I'll tell you guys how I diagnosed it and all that, and then how I fixed it. But so pretty much I went quadding like on a weekend. I filled up on it wasn't empty, but I filled up on Friday, went quadding, came back, the light turned on, and then I drove maybe for another 10 miles, maybe tops afterwards. So I had maybe around 30 miles. That's what at least the gauge on the instrument cluster where the speedometer is, what it was showing. I think about 30 miles left. Some plus or minus, maybe there was 2 gallons of diesel in the tanker left. But either way, I didn't run it too much. You know, obviously it was saying 30 miles to go still. But yeah, I came home, unhooked obviously the trailer, the quad with the quads, and then I went and filled up the truck, came home, parked it, and then I left it for 2 days, I believe. I parked it on the Saturday evening, and I tried to start it again on Monday. I came home, I needed the truck for something. I tried to start it. It just cranks really fast, like there's no compression. Obviously, when there's no compression, it means there's either no fuel pressure, no fuel getting into the engine, or you have no compression in your engine. So in my case, it was no compression because or low compression because of no fuel. So anyways, the truck was cranking really fast and wasn't starting. No matter how many times I tried, no luck at all. So I had a no crank, crank no start condition. So truck was cranking really fast and would not start. So yeah, my first reaction was, you know, to scan any codes. I scanned for the codes, anything related, you know, to not starting, maybe low fuel pressure or anything like that. Nothing, no codes of any kind. No messages popping up, literally nothing, absolutely nothing. It was just crank really fast and would not start. I was lost. I contacted Bradley. If you guys any of you guys are in my groups, I have a Nissan group that we made. He's in my group there. He's one of the main techs there that helps a lot of people out. And I contacted him. Maybe, I mean, he's pretty familiar with his trucks, a lot more familiar than I am. So I contacted him, and we kind of just started looking through fuel pressures, what the lift pump pressure is. It's supposed to be a little like 70, 71, 72, which I had. So my first thought was lift pump. You know, lift pump wasn't working. You know, I started looking at pressure, I started listening to it. It sounded a little funny, but you know, everything starts sounding funny when something's wrong and you're trying to find a reason why to replace parts, you know. But anyways, we came to a conclusion. At the end of the day, we started testing it. I tested it multiple times. Lift pump was good. Then we started looking at pressure, at fuel pressure, and the fuel pressure seemed like it was working. Like, you know, in the fuel rail pressure, I think it was reading around, if I'm not mistaken, like 2,700 RPM, like 2,700 psi. Sorry. So yeah, it was like around close to 3,000 psi in a fuel rail pressure. So that's when it really like shocked me. I was like, we all were lost. Like, what is this? Why is it like we have rail pressure and it looks like, and everything, nothing was working. Like everything was just weird. Like I started really panicking a little because I'm not really a diesel tech. I haven't had too much experience with the diesel cars, so this was kind of a little bit new territory for me. I knew the basics, but when it gets into you know, deep into the actual diesels, I'm not that great with them. I'm pretty good with the gas cars, but not so much with the diesels. But anyway, so yeah, I was stuck. Good fuel rail pressure, good lift pump pressure. Everything started really being confusing. Okay, so we had good lift pump pressure, which was over 70 psi when you turn the ignition on. When the lift pump starts working, I heard the noise of the lift pump. So, and then when I was cranking, I believe, like I said, I had like 2,700 psi, close to 3,000 psi. I was looking through my scanner because I think it shows in bars or whatever it's called, but then I converted it to psi. It was pretty much close to 3,000 psi. So which was weird. It was like, truck should be starting. There's no codes. Obviously, that's probably why there was no codes, because it was seeing the pressures. So there was no reason for it to, you know, to show any code, because fuel pressure, everything was fine. So my next thought was like, okay, I changed the fuel filters about 10,000 miles ago, plus or minus, maybe 2,000 miles. But yeah, about 10,000 miles ago, it was perfectly clean, everything. I was like, okay, let me order fuel filters. After they get here, I'll take the old fuel filters out and check out how everything looks in the filter housing. This is when it got really interesting. So I pull my, once the fuel filters arrive, I pull both of the filters, the one underneath where the lift pump is, underneath in the center of the truck, underneath the truck, and then one underneath the hood. I pulled the one underneath the truck, the lift pump filter, and it had some sort of debris. Like, it was weird debris, because, you know, I never seen it. It was weird. You could put it in your hand and you can smash it to bits. So it's kind of more like, you know, really cured hard algae from the fuel or something like that. I don't know. It was really big pieces too. It was weird, but not too much of it in the lift pump filter housing. Once I got the one under the hood off, that's when I got a lot of garbage. I will include the photos while I'm talking right now. When I edit my video, I will include the photos of all the algae, all the garbage that I found in the fuel filter, in the fuel housings, in the fuel filter housings. So it was really weird. Like, it was like nobody, I emailed it to Bradley. He was lost for words. He's like, I don't know, I never seen that before. Because I mean, obviously when you mix your DEF fluid in the fuel or something, or, you know, some weird stuff like that, then you can kind of tell, you know, it's been, you know, people seen that before. This one was a little weird. Like, it was, so I came to a conclusion like, okay, this is probably algae. So my first thought was maybe it was a gas station, because literally I filled up, came home, I pretty much came home on my old fuel most likely, parked it and couldn't start it no more. It was like half a mile, a little less than half a mile even drive. So I went to the fuel station, I told them about it. I was like, this is what happened. You know, there's a possibility your guys' fuel is contaminated or what. But anyways, then I cleaned it up, obviously, changed the filters, cleaned everything really nicely up, you know, put the filters in properly and all that, cleaned it all out. Obviously I put some lubricant. I'll put a photo in my video also, so you can see which kind of lubricant that I use for my truck. Still no luck. I changed the filters, everything, no luck. Just crank it really fast and would not start. So our next thought was, you know, maybe I burned out my high pressure fuel pump. Pretty much I just started praying to God, please God, no, not this. You know, I know how expensive everything is, especially for diesel trucks. I was like, man, this is a little over my head here. So anyways, I started talking. I know a friend that gave me a number to, you know, another friend here, and I started talking to him. He's a diesel tech here locally. I started talking to him and just, you know, check this, check that. I checked pretty much same stuff that pretty much Bradley told me, same thing, but a little differently perspective. But yeah, same thing. We came dead end, literally. Like, the truck should be starting. So I had a thought. I was like, I have a scanner that I use. I'm gonna also include it in the link description. You know, it's almost $1,000 or around $1,000. I think it's worth it. It's paid for itself long time ago, especially how much money is saved diagnostic wise. But anyways, I started messing on the Scantool. I went to the engine and then into commands. There's certain things I can command the truck to do, or certain things on the truck that are electrical that could be engaged electrically. Like on this truck, I can engage, there's on a high pressure fuel pump, there's a pressure release valve and a high pressure fuel pump actuator. That's both electric. So I was like, okay, let me try to play with this. I opened the high pressure fuel pump release valve, and then I closed a couple times, and then I did the same thing to the pressure release, to the actuator, high pressure fuel pump actuator. I opened and closed a couple times. And guess what? The truck just started right up. So technically it could be one of those two, but I'll tell you in a second that how I found out it was the one of them. But anyways, the first thing I did was when they got some lubricant, some of the booster, what do you call it, the cetane booster. It's lubricant, cetane booster and all that. It's Cummins approved or something like that, it says on it. Anyways, I'll include the photo of the lubricant that I used. I put that in there to started driving it around, came parked, so it was working. And then a couple days later, I come to start it again, it would do the same thing. This time, you know, obviously I already knew what kind of caused it, so I was like, let me try actually, you know, doing the high pressure fuel pump actuator. You know, let me just close and open that up and see if it starts again. And then I do that, and it started right up. So what I came to a conclusion, the high pressure fuel pump actuator itself probably got some of that debris in itself, and it wouldn't engage the high pressure fuel pump, or would mess around. I don't know what the, you know, what exactly it did inside, but anyways, by me forcing it open and closed a couple times, it pretty much made this truck start. So after that, I got some of the, what do you call it, diesel. All right, let me just pull it out. I have it in my, here, I put it in the back of my truck, a bottle of it. Nope, it's right there actually. It's a diesel additive. So some of this guy here, it's a Power Service BioClean Diesel Fuel Biocide right there. It pretty much helps fight a lot of algae if you have built up, or it also helps keep from the algae and all that building up in your fuel system and contaminating it and all that. So I put some of that in there, and then the same company sells like a gray bottle. It's a lubricant and then a cetane booster and stuff, and an injector cleaner in there and all that. I put 2 bottles, I think 2 bottles of that, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 1. I think I might have put 1 and then drove out like almost half a tank, and then when it didn't want to start again, I went and bought another one, put another one in there, and then put some of this in there, and I even added a tiny bit of 2-stroke oil. But anyways, I put a bunch of that stuff in there, and the truck pretty much, once I put the biocide in there, I'm pretty sure it started pretty much starting and all the lubricant and cleaner and all that. So yeah, my at the end of the day, what I think what happened is, when I bought the truck used, I bought it with like 60,000 miles, 2019. It came from Canada. I don't know what kind of fuel they use in Canada. Maybe the guy used biodiesel or whatever, but my guess, if it's not the fuel station, it's probably was algae. That was the guy probably let it sit sometime with the bad diesel, and the algae went down and kind of grabbed onto the bottom of the fuel tank, and over time it hardened up, you know. When and I tried not to empty I didn't wait every time for the fuel light to come on to fill it up, so I kept filling it. But this time, when I filled it up, it probably washed it from the bottom of the tank and straight into the fuel system, and it went to the filters, and it probably started clogging up stuff. So yeah, thankfully this was cheap. You know, I started right off the bat, I got a bunch of cleaners, biocide and lubricants to pretty much make sure it just cleans everything out. And I'm gonna do that for the next probably 2-3 fill-ups. A bunch of lubricant, I'm gonna add some biocide in there, so it cleans the fuel system out and lubricates it so it doesn't damage actually anything. Because I was really worried, you know, it could have been the injectors, really expensive fix, high pressure fuel pump, really expensive fix. Even the lift pump is not cheap. So it's like, man, I was really worried. So I was like, thank God, you know, that I got, you know, the thought of, you know, actually just going and messing with the high pressure the high pressure fuel pump actuator and the release valve and stuff. So that's how I started my truck. So if you guys have similar issue to mine, I decided to make this video. Maybe you guys give it a shot. Maybe you guys will be able to fix it the same way I fixed it. Because like I said, if you start throwing parts, oh my goodness, it will get so expensive so fast. And especially if you guys are not able to do it yourself, man. So doing something like this, like I did, like changing fuel filters and then buying this Scantool and doing what I did, it will save you a lot of money. It will save you a lot of money. So with God's grace, you know, mine was, I didn't have to fix anything besides buy the filters, and then just I'm gonna keep buying those additives, which was still a whole lot cheaper than it would have been if it was even one part broken, you know. It could have been so many things. So I was really lucky, and I think it happened right after I filled it up. So I only drove it for like half a mile, so I didn't drive it, so I didn't get all the garbage in a lot of stuff. So I think you only got to the filter by the engine. I don't think you went too much of it went farther, maybe a little bit of it because of the actuator, you know, actually messed up the actuator a little bit. You plugged it up or something. But yeah, so yeah, I decided to share this story with you guys because like I said, this is pretty important to me, and I think to you guys too, because if you guys have this issue with the diesel truck, especially this one, you know, that's what I did to fix it. Okay, so yeah, by actuating, you know, by commanding the high pressure fuel pump actuator on and off, I guess it cleared it out. Whatever was in it, it cleared it out, and the truck started. So that's what I had, pretty much. No codes, no messages on the dashboard or anything like that. Like, it was perfectly fine now. No lights of any kind, as you can see, nothing. So I just, like I said, once I did that, and then I just started getting lubricants and some biocide and stuff and cleaner in there, and so got it all, you know. Right now it's all bunch of stuff in the fuel right now, so it's cleaning the truck out. And like I said, I'm gonna keep doing that for a couple times. So my suggestion to you guys, especially that own these trucks, put the additive, the fuel additive, the cleaner and stuff in your fuel if you can every time you fill up, because trust me, it's only probably like $8 to $10 to get one of those. Do your research, whichever diesel fuel additive is the best for lubrication, for cleaning and all that. Lubrication is a really big one, and also the stuff that keeps from the algae from forming. So yeah, I would definitely suggest doing that, because right now, knowing what I know now and the stuff that I went through, I'm gonna use the additive every time. I'm gonna buy an additive, the the cetane booster, the cleaner, the lubricant, all that stuff. I'm gonna use any diesel. It's a bottle of it's $8. Yeah, it's a little more expensive, but trust me, it's a whole lot cheaper than paying thousands of dollars for any repairs. But this one, if everything goes bad, like in the fuel system, you're looking at $10,000–$15,000 worth of repairs, if not more. So yeah, it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. Buying the little bottle of diesel lubricant and cleaner, injector cleaner and all that, it's worth it. So my suggestion to you is that. Hopefully this video was informative. That's my whole point of this video, is to inform you guys and save you guys a lot of money. That's my whole point of this whole channel, that why I created it, is to, if I go through something and I learn something, I share it. I try to share it with you guys, especially on Nissan Titans, Cummins. There's not a lot of people making videos about them, and like the Volvo on my channel that I have, like there's not a lot of people making video about those. So my point is to help you guys out, especially with the cars that not a lot of people own. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as usual, see you next time.